So the release of the Comey statement today came not long after top intelligence officials appeared before the Senate Intelligence Committee. In public session, at least, they declined to discuss conversations they had with President Trump about Russia or about James Comey. Our Lisa Desjardins begins the coverage.
This was supposed to be about FISA, the foreign surveillance law used to thwart terror attacks.
I'd like to call this hearing to order.
Instead, the Senate intelligence hearing became a high-stakes dance over the Russia investigation and President Trump. National Security Agency Director Michael Rogers began by saying,
I have never been directed to do anything I believe to be illegal, immoral, unethical, or inappropriate. And to the best of my recollection, during that same period of service, I do not recall ever feeling pressured to do so.
But after that, it was a day of senators' questions and intelligence officials' sidesteps.
Did the president, the reports that are out there, ask you in any way, shape, or form to back off or downplay the Russia investigation?
I'm not going to discuss the specifics of conversations with the President of the United States.
Adding gravity today, a flurry of new headlines overnight. The New York Times reported that former FBI Director James Comey asked not to be left alone with President Trump for fear of being pressured. The Washington Post said the president asked the Director of National Intelligence to intervene in the FBI's probe of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. That DNI, Dan Coates, was in today's hearing and would not confirm or deny the story.
I am willing to come before the committee and tell you what I know and what I don't know. What I'm not willing to do is to share what I think is confidential information that ought to be protected in an open hearing.
Republican Marco Rubio began by defending the president.
And I actually think if what is being said to the media is untrue, then it is unfair to the President of the United States.
But in an effort to bolster that view, he got confusion.
Is anyone aware of any effort by anyone in the White House or elsewhere to seek advice on how to influence any investigation?
My answer is absolutely no, Senator.
No one has anything to add to that.
I don't understand the question.
Democrat Martin Heinrich went further, pressing Coates if Trump asked him to blunt the investigation.
You could clear an awful lot up by simply saying that never happened.
I don't share with the general public conversations that I have with the president or many of my colleagues within the administration that I believe should not be shared.
Well, I think your unwillingness to answer a very basic question speaks volumes.
Independent Angus King hammered the intel chiefs for neither answering nor explaining why they weren't answering.
Is it an invocation of executive privilege? If there is, then let's know about it. If there isn't, answer the questions.
I stand by the comments I've made. I'm not interested in repeating myself, sir. And I don't mean that in a contentious way.
Well, I do mean it in a contentious way. I don't understand why you're not answering our questions.
Ultimately, the top two intel chiefs said they were waiting for more guidance from the White House, while Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe indicated they don't want to harm the current special investigation. As for President Trump himself, he was in Cincinnati for an infrastructure event and avoided all talk of Russia or the FBI. But online, he did announce Christopher Wray as his nominee for the new FBI director. Wray is a criminal defense lawyer and former federal prosecutor who headed the criminal division at the Department of Justice. He's also known for representing New Jersey Governor Chris Christie in his so-called Bridgegate scandal. But before any new director starts, the spotlight remains on the man just fired from the FBI job, who testifies on Capitol Hill tomorrow.
And Lisa joins us now from the Capitol. Lisa, it was a riveting hearing. You talked to some of the senators afterwards. What are they saying?
I think they're actually drawing two conclusions from today. One, Judy, Democrats feel increasingly that this Trump administration has a real problem with both the investigation and how it is handling it. Two, the second conclusion, Democrats and Republicans alike are not just frustrated, they're now concerned about the lack of answers that they got today and that they've been getting in the congressional probe here. I spoke to Senator John McCain, a man who you'll remember wished he was an ex-president right now. He said after walking away from that hearing, he felt that the balance of power has clearly shifted to the executive. What they're saying here, Judy, is they're worried about Congress's power and Congress's responsibility to look into these matters.
Now, on James Comey, we did get his opening statement, and we've been dissecting that on the program. But what are the senators looking for from him tomorrow?
I got to tell you, Judy, that written statement has really shifted expectations here on Capitol Hill. For one, I think Democrats now are very happy to see that Comey indeed plans to lay out all the red flags that he saw in his conversations with President Trump. They will certainly spend a lot of time on that. Republicans, meanwhile, will see what they ask. We know some of their questions will push back at Mr. Comey because he testified previously in committee. He indicated that he didn't think there was any political pressure on him. Expect that kind of pushback. But I think overall, Judy, this day began here on Capitol Hill with many people thinking James Comey's testimony might not live up to its very prominent billing. But now, Judy, it looks like it just might.
Well, it was already going to, everybody was watching it, and now everyone, more than everyone, will be watching. And I know you're going to be there for us tomorrow at the Capitol. Lisa, thank you. And we will be here with live coverage of tomorrow's Senate hearings with former FBI Director James Comey. That's beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern here on PBS and online at pbs.org/newshour.